Good afternoon, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. Although, again, we're not doing a review today. Well, not yet. I've got a review later on. It's almost certainly going to be post-Americana because the artwork looks amazing. But today, we're talking about my best of the year. This is number 8, if I remember correctly. And it's one from Image Comics, my first from Image Comics, the only company that's going to get 2 in the top 10. So you got that to look forward to later. But this one is, well, unsurprisingly, because of the way my taste seem to lie at the moment, it's a Western revenge thriller. Although there's a lot to say before we get to that actually being what it is. Because for a start, it's not like 1870s or even 1970s or anything like that. It's contemporary, and the revenge aspect of it is just an aspect of it, which is quite nice. What it actually is a story of a sheriff. Or sheriff, no, I think he's a sheriff who's about to retire and passing his work on to somebody else. And he's that kind of perfect American archetype, very Texan, good old boy kind of thing, but hopefully without the racism. And it's him basically dealing with some fallout from something that goes wrong, or something that has gone wrong in the past, that brings people who've left his little Texas town back to it, which then kind of erupts into the kind of violence you expect in a revenge story. Which what's quite nice is you very rarely see it. They don't make this like over the top gratuitous. It's not really fan service for that kind of thing. It's understated. The entire thing is understated in a way I particularly admire. When you're doing Western revenge stories, you can go over the top. And some of the stuff I've enjoyed this year has done that and has gone over the top. And they've not been the worst for it. Certainly not saying that there's not a place for that in a comic book story. But in this particular occasion, the slow crawl of the story feels very appropriate, feels very accurate to a lot of the great Western stories. You can look at some of the more modern takes on things, particularly thinking of Quentin Tarantino with Hateful Eight and Django Unchained, and you have like over-the-top ultra-violence. I mean, Django Unchained is a fantastic film, but honestly, just don't take that violence part of it seriously. They actually like heighten the violence down to just a fist fight rather than the gunfights. The gunfights are so over the top you can't take them seriously. And not to say that classic westerns don't have gunfights and don't have violence, but that's not like the be all and end all. There is time taken to craft a story, to put in characters where you want to find out about them and why they are there. What is the story that got them from where it started to where the chapter 1 picks up? And it's worth pointing out that this story was actually written to be a movie, but nobody picked it up, which is a chronic shame for the movie industry. But for a comic book fan like me, who walks around in a cowboy hat, it really did make my day when I picked this up. It's more than the 2 other cowboy stories that I've really, really liked this year. This has been the one that feels a bit more classic. Not to say it's better than the one that's coming up later on. There is something to be said for somebody who has a bit more experience of the form. But honestly, the only reason I say that is because there's some things which are just like immaculately good. This one doesn't quite make it to that, but it's number 8 in the best of things I've read all year. So don't for 1 second think it's not worth your time. The dialogue is absolutely brilliant. To say it has an awful lot of slow elements to it, it also feels very, very natural, and it flows perfectly. The way people talk to each other, the way sometimes you just get an internal thought process done in boxed out text, the conversation works even though it's not really a conversation, because you see the world around the character and they are responding to that, even though it's not a backwards and forwards with the dialogue. Artwork-wise as well, it's just as understated. It doesn't feel the need to throw it, because again, with the lack of violence, it doesn't feel the need to throw in an awful lot of that. What it does do is get to the nitty-gritty of character by the way they dress, the way they hold themselves, just standing with a beer bottle in hand, or the sardonic smile on the face when you know that they've got something to hide, just makes it work when other comics might feel the need to push too hard and really go to town on the details. This one is just everything it needs to be without trying any harder than it needs to try. And when it does get to the end, and when you realize what's going on, you are so happy that the understated story pays off in a way that doesn't require lashings of ultraviolence. It just ends in a way which is heartbreaking, emotional, and deeply satisfying. Honestly, it's been a year for me being a fan of cowboy stories. The fact that I'm at number 8 and this is already the second one I've done, cannot complain at all. Right, that's all I'm going to be on about this one in 5 minutes. I'm going to try, if I can, to get a review done later on today, but if not, I'll be back tomorrow. Take it easy. Bye.